Hello, I'm David Ellis, a Bigfoot field investigator with the Olympic Project. Within Grays Harbor, dating back to the late 1960s, there are at least 50 modern-day Bigfoot sightings. These reports are only a fraction of the encounters that are really happening. So today I'd like to take a look at one specific Bigfoot sighting and report coming from Grays Harbor. Maybe this will inspire you to share your story where your path crossed with the unknown. I need to give you a little history on John Green, the author of numerous Bigfoot books and was the editor of a newspaper in Agassiz, British Columbia. John is probably the predominant authority on Sasquatch Bigfoot research in the Pacific Northwest, and he currently resides in Harrison Hot Springs, British Columbia, cataloging over 3,000 eyewitness accounts of the Sasquatch encounters. One of the encounters that John investigated comes from Grays Harbor. It seems a young sheriff deputy, Verlin Harrington, became a witness to the unknown early Sunday, July 26, 1969, at about 2:30 in the morning. He was following up on an incident requiring police action in the Hump Tulips area, and he was en route returning to his residence by way of DeKay Road when the incident happened. I will read for you the John Green transcript, August 7, 1969. A statement was issued last week by Sheriff of Grays Harbor County, Washington, that one of his deputies had admitted seeing a female bear, not a Sasquatch. It is completely contradicted by this interview with the deputy recorded by me, John Green, last Thursday. I interviewed the deputy in company of two physical anthropologists from the University of Washington. To begin with, I would like to get your name on tape. My name is Verlin Harrington. Where do you live? I live in Copalis Beach, Washington. How old are you? 30 years old. What is your occupation? I'm a deputy sheriff for Grays Harbor County. Now, the incident we've been discussing, could you give us a date when that took place? Yes, it was July 26th. It was a Sunday. And the year? 1969. What time? It was about 2:30 a.m. What were you doing at the time? Well, I had been on an incident in Hump Tulips, and I was en route by way of DeKay Road to Grass Creek Road, then to the beach, and on to my residence. You were working at the time? Yeah, right. What was it that happened while you were making that trip? As I was going down DeKay Road, I rounded a corner, and my first impression was a large bear standing in the middle of the road. Well, I had either needed to stop or hit the bear, so I decided to stop, put on the brakes, came to a screeching halt, and then I coasted down the slight grade as far as I could without startling the animal. I was looking right at it. I was going right towards it. This animal, in my opinion, was not a bear, because you could see by the way it was standing, it didn't have a snout. It had a face. Its eyes reflected. And when I came to a complete stop, I could see in the headlights of my car, it had feet, not paws. It also had breasts. When I centered my spotlight of the patrol car on the creature, it walked to the edge of the road. And it didn't fall down on all fours like a bear would. It walked upright as a person would. It walked to the edge of the road, stopped, and it turned, looked right at me. I readjusted the spotlight on my car so I could look at it better. Its feet had hair all the way down to its soles. You could see the outline of the foot. It had toes. Its hand was in a position where it was spread out. It had fingers. After I readjusted the spotlight, I rolled down the window, pulled my revolver, and crawled out of the car. I aimed my revolver at it. I cocked the hammer. Then the animal went into the bush. I got back in my car and drove off. Reported the next morning back to the scene and went through the area. I found where the animal had gone into the bush and where it come back out onto the roadway. Verlin, did you find any tracks at all? Yes, I found one indentation in the ground, and I did take a photograph, but the print wasn't what you could pour a cast and get much detail. How big was it? I measured the track. It was 18.5 inches. The animal was around 7 to 7.5 feet tall, weighing approximately 325 pounds. How far away were you when you were looking at it? 75, 80 feet? How long would you say you were able to observe it before it left the road? Approximately a minute, minute and a quarter, maybe a minute and a half. But this was from the time I came to a complete stop. Now, I was observing it as I coasted, so maybe overall 2 minutes. And in that time, it was standing erect on hind legs. Yes, it was. And as it went off into the brush, it was still on hind legs. Verlin, where it went into the brush, that's quite a steep little bank, isn't it? Yes, it is. And you could see that it remained erect as it went down the bank? Well, until it went out of the spotlight, yes. Had it started to descend the bank in the spotlight, or was it gone from the spotlight? It went down the bank, and approximately halfway down, it went out of the spotlight, still in an erect position. Okay, just to sort of go over it from the top to bottom, can you tell us anything about the shape of the head? For instance, your first impression was a bear. Did it have a snout? No, it did not have a snout. I couldn't say that it had a nose like a person. I believe that there was no hair on its face. It had dark, leathery look. Did you get the impression of the length of the hair on the head or on the rest of it? I would say about 3 or 4 inches on the head. It didn't have long hanging hair at all. Longer head than on the body, yes. Well, what sort of neck did it have? Oh, no neck. You mentioned, I think they had breasts? Yes, yes. Where on the body were they located? Well, like a human person's. But they were also covered with hair except for the nipples. That was skin. Did you mention the color of the hair? No, I didn't. It was blackish. No, it was brownish black, dark colored. You say you saw a hand with fingers extended. Could you tell how long the arms were? I would have to guess at how long they were. The arm that I was looking at was, in a bent position like you catch someone startled. You couldn't at the time see how far down the body the arm went? No. Comparing it to a human, would you say it had long legs or short legs? Oh, it had long legs. I would say long, muscular legs. Did it take long strides? No, it seemed to take small steps as it walked. It was watching me, and as it walked to the edge of the road, they would be large for a normal human, but for this animal, they were short steps. About 3 steps, from the center of the road to the edge. Did you notice any difference in the way it walked and the way a human would walk? Same type of position and same type of walk as a human? Okay. Any other details that you can recall that you noticed about it? Really, that pretty well covers it. You didn't see the teeth, I guess? No. Did it taper at the waist? Did it have a narrow waist? Oh, no. It was a big body, a big, stout body. That's the best I can remember. It was pretty heavily built? Yes. And so ends the report from Verlin. The witness was a sheriff's deputy, therefore he was considered to be a very reliable source. So keep your eyes and ears open. Maybe you will hear stories that will validate what many already know. There are those that know they are here and walk among us, while others believe they are myth and tales. If you have something to share, please contact the Olympic Project. We would love to investigate and report our findings. Thank you.
Asshole tracks. Wow. That's a shame.